Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us this afternoon for our virtual program. I'm Kevin Collins, the Digital Services Librarian for the Genesee District Library. And before we start, I just want to mention we have the summer reading program going on right now, Unearth a Story. You read books, you log them on our website, and you can win all sorts of prizes. You can find that on our website, thegdl.org. And we have the road trip adventure going in right now. If you stop by any of our 19 branches, you can pick up a puzzle piece. And if you can visit all 19 branches and get the full puzzle, you get a special bonus piece attached to that. So lots of fun things going on this summer. Now, we'll get started. I'm joined by Anne and Patricia. Hello. How are you guys doing?
Good, good. Patty is driving. She will be popping in every once in a while.
All right. Sounds good. Now, let's get started. And
Okay.
here we go.
Let me. And I owe you an apology, Kevin. I thought you were Alan. I'm sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Uh, how do I make it big again?
um, let's see. If you click, where are we at? PowerPoint on the bottom.
Oh, yeah. Okay. The camera.
Oh
Oh,
no, not that one. That one.
not,
The screen. We'll have to have you share your screen again,
yeah.
and
Share
then in
screen.
PowerPoint, yeah, you'll have to make
Yeah.
it big.
Sorry, everybody. This is our first time using StreamYard. So
No worries.
thank you
No
for
worries.
bearing with me. Do you see it?
You're scared. You're sharing your StreamYard screen, not the PowerPoint.
Oh, gosh. Okay.
So
My
Hold
volume
on.
is really low and I can't seem to get it to run through CarPlay.
Okay. All right.
all right. So
I'm learning. I had it all set up and then I moved it.
Oh, I gotcha.
So okay, and then slideshow from the beginning.
all right.
Well, welcome. My name is Anne, and I am from MSU Extension Early Childhood and Family Development Team. I am familiar with the Genesee District Library in Grand Blanc, where my colleague Patty Mars and I do a great play group, and so our class kind of morphed from that. Patty is with us, but she is driving in the car because after this, she and I are going to go and do the rodeo tonight at the Genesee County Fair. So if you're not doing anything, come on down. All right. MSU is an affirmative action, equal opportunity employer. Michigan State University extension programs and materials are open to all without regard to race, color, national origin, sex, gender identity, religion, age, height, weight, disability, political beliefs, sexual orientation, marital status, family status, or veteran status. So, getting in today, we're going to talk about the following objectives. As you read along with them, you'll understand that we're going to talk about the reading level by the end of the third grade and how important that is to future success. We will also briefly talk about the Common Core standards for the English language arts. We're going to talk about how you can help your child or your students by creating and providing a literacy rich environment. And you will receive a variety of resources from us via, I guess, the library. I'll send them the handouts after this and they can forward it on to you. Okay. There are 3 components to literacy in young children. The first steps are pre-literacy skills, book handling, print awareness, etc. That happens in the infant, toddler, and preschool years 0 to 5. These pre-literacy skills are the precursor to formal reading that typically begins around the age of 5 to 6. In kindergarten, children cannot learn to read without these pre-literacy skills. And we'll talk more about that. But the pre-literacy skills is when you're holding the baby and you're reading and they may be wanting to chew the board book, but let's stop them. Hold the book up that they can read it, where the pictures are right. Always talk to the child while you're reading, point to the words, sing the story if there's a song. So those are some of the pre-literacy skills that we're going to really stress about with our little ones. And of course, you can't have a discussion about early literacy without mentioning Dr. Seuss. So the more you read, the more things you will know. The more you learn, the more places you will go. So what is emergent literacy? Is what is called reading readiness. Oral language. So let's look at these bullet points. There's oral language, experimental writing, print awareness, phonological awareness, vocabulary, comprehension, and alphabetic principles. And we're going to talk a little bit more about these in brief, but these are the foundation of what is beginning reading. So again, we talked more about birth decay is emergent literacy. It's songs, it's finger play, it's stories, it's rhymes. In our play group at the Grand Blanc Library, we do a lot of songs and a lot of finger plays to get the kids moving, understanding through hearing the rhymes through the songs, through the finger play. So those are all very important. Then they go on to K-3, which is where they're actually being introduced to sight words, the sounds and the letters. We're talking long vowel, short vowels, the hard G sound and C sound. They're learning that. And then 4th grade to 12th grade, you're reading for school, you're reading for pleasure, and you're reading in interest levels. So if your child, your middle school, high school student is into Dungeons and Dragons, there's a lot of reading when you play that game, and that's pleasure because they're enjoying playing the game. So that's what we want to strive. We want to have kids learn that reading is fun. However, some of our students are not doing very well with reading. According to the Annie E. Casey Foundation, in a report titled Learning to Read Early Warning, only 31% of Michigan 4th graders read at a proficient level. 69% are below proficient, and 34% of the total is below a basic level. Nationally, the state of Michigan ranks 32 out of 50 in the number of children reading on grade level by the 4th grade. Children who cannot read proficiently by the 4th grade are more likely to do poorly in school and to end up dropping out of high school or earlier. There is a correlation between poor reading skills and doing well in school and beyond. It is an absolute necessity that children develop proficient reading skills by third grade because children are not being taught reading skills beyond third grade. So as you read this slide, 75% of the students who are poor readers in third grade will never overcome that gap. One reason that children who aren't reading well at the end of the third grade struggle is that up to half of the printed material for fourth grade graders is written at or above a fourth grade reading level. Children in the fourth grade shift from learning to read to reading to learn. When they can't read well, they can't learn the content that is expected of them, causing them to fall further behind. And again, let's talk about that learning to read and read to learn. So kids under the third grade are working on the fundamental skills, like we mentioned earlier, the phonological sounds, the hard and soft letters, the long vowels. They're learning all that fundamental bricks. In fourth grade, they're now reading to learn. That's where they start answering the questions in the back of the book and have to read to make sure they're answering the questions correctly and infer some of the meaning. So the skills are getting a little bit more complex and higher thinking when they learn to read from reading to learn. 83% of the children who are not reading well by the fourth grade are at risk of failing to graduate from high school on time. So again, let's sit and let's think about that. 83% of the children who are not good readers may not finish high school. So that's really important that we have to show them. We have to be the parents, the big people in these kids' lives to support them learning to enjoy reading. Reading should never be really hard. There is always time for kids to practice reading while you're cooking dinner. They can read their homework to you, or the newspaper, or an article off the internet. We just have got to get them reading. We've got to get them practicing. So again, as you can tell, low achievement in reading can have long-term consequences in terms of attending higher education, individual earning potential, global competition, general public productivity. So that's basically, if they're low readers, they're going to already feel that so much is behind them, that they're not feeling, their self-esteem may be upset and triggered. So it then affects every aspect of their lives. So what is being done? Our nation's educational leaders are aware that there is a growing problem that must be addressed. States are starting to work on improving funding to schools, early childhood education, and teacher preparation. Here in Michigan, we have seen very large investments in early childhood education, even in these tough financial times. Michigan also recently received a federal Race to the Top grant to continue to improve early childhood education in the state. One of the biggest challenges come across the country is the adoption of the Common Core state standards. We won't talk about this much, but the Common Core has generated a lot of debate. There are some issues regarding the importance of this, but the Common Core was just the base of it, and there is now core knowledge, which takes the core and has made it a little more accessible for teachers to understand and parents, as well as offering a more fundamentally based learning program. English language arts objectives. Okay. The English language arts objectives are divided into these categories: reading literature, reading informational text, reading excuse me, I don't know why I'm not speaking today. Foundational skills, writing, speaking, and listening in language. So, reading literature. When you read literature, and we're talking whatever you think the classics are, let's face it, Pete the Cat is a pretty cool book, as well as reading a child-friendly version of Pride and Prejudice. They're all promoting the development of skills to comprehend and to retell the literature, participating in learning activities to answer who, what, where, and when. So one of our fun activities we like to do is the retelling glove activity. And these are great when you are working with a group of young children. Put a glove on and you just go through the 5 parts of the story: the main character, the conflict, the climax, the resolution, and the setting. So who, what, where, and when. And it's a lot of fun to give it to the kids and have them start learning this aspects of retelling the glove activity. So when you're reading A Hat in the Cat, what's the setting? The setting is the kid's house. Who's the character? The cat in the hat and brother and sister. And let's not forget the goldfish. What's the problem? That Cat in the Hat is not listening and getting the kids in trouble. And then the climax is thing 2 and thing 1 broke something, then they had to clean it up. But it's the climax that builds up to these kids getting in trouble by playing with Cat in the Hat. So we offer at MSU Extension on our website, and again, you'll get a copy of it. We offer family book sheets. These break down the books into simple activities you can do at home with the kids: playing, music, art, math, science. We broke them down so you don't have to figure out how to do it. Reading informational text. And that is very important because let's look at the bunny. 4-H does bunny clubs, and we're part of the institute that works with 4-H. So we want to be able to help our new 4-Hers and their bunny club to support and care for their bunnies by being able to read informational text that will show them how to care and keep a bunny happy and healthy, their habitats, what do they need, and their diet. Do bunnies eat chocolate? You know, that's a question, you know, because I know I eat chocolate bunnies. All right, ways to support informational text with your young readers. And again, we're talking 2nd grade, even 3rd grade, and down in 1st grade. Don't be afraid to read a nonfiction story to your little one. They need to know why the sky is blue, why the trees are green, what makes a car go. There are some wonderful age appropriate books for little ones that share the informational text. So if you have a child care or you work with kids, or even if you're grandma, make sure when you buy books for the family, you're buying factual books, so that they can be put into the family's library. Have students tell you a story about something or someone they know, and then look that person up and see, oh, okay, yeah, this is true. Make a story up about their toys. This is a great way to have your kids share their imagination with you. When a child offers and then invites you to play with them, always say yes, because you don't have that much time to play with them. But it's a doorway to having them share with you and trust you in their growth. And imagination is so much fun. So yeah, listen to the toy story. What's happening with their Barbie doll and their spoon and fork. Dress up like a story character. We are in Patty and I work with a local G-Card Head Start program, and I want to say spring now, they dress up as princesses and princes, and this play the hall that's rented is turned into a castle with all these activities, but the teachers and the kids and some of the vendors are dressed up, and so everybody just gets into supporting imaginations. So here is some informational activity for informational text, the 3-2-1 strategy. Let's talk about 3 things that we've discovered that we didn't know. 2 things they found interesting, and 1 question we still have. I do the public library in Flint's Junior Master Garden program, and we're talking about bees yesterday. And so we talked, and we had somebody come in, and we learned and we reviewed this, and we talked about 3 things that we learned. That the hive has cells in it, and the cells, then that's where the worker bees and the drone and the queen bee live. They make their honey there. They lay their eggs in the cell, and that was very interesting. And then we went and we built our a paper towel beehive. And so they found that interesting that, oh my gosh, these bees are really small to fit into these straws. And then the 1 question we still have is, why do they bite us? Why do they sting us? And so that was a great question, which the bee farmer then spent time and answered the question, is that because we move. They're used to having flowers stay still. And when we move quickly because we're afraid of them, we may get stung. So let's talk about skills students must master before they can become fluent readers and comprehend what they're reading, the fundamental skills of reading. All right. Since these skills are at the very foundation of becoming a proficient reader, they are called the foundational skills. These skills are taught somewhat sequentially with some nature overlapping skills: alphabet, concept of print, phonological awareness, phonics, high frequency words, and fluency. These are all set of skills students must master before they become fluent readers and comprehend what they are reading. Supporting beginning readers, decoding strategies. Patty and I hear a lot, and we support that there is not a lot of phonics being taught anymore in the schools. I am, as you can tell, not the greatest reader, but I am from the 70s, and I don't remember ever having some of the phonics work that some of my friends in a different school have, or that I have seen younger kids use. So when they are reading to you, don't tell them the word. Help them to sound it out. Break it down to syllables. What is the first sound? What word would make sense? How does the word begin? So this goes back to when they can't read the word, you should sound it out. Can you think of it? What is the first and last sounds? What word would make sense? Does it have a pattern that you've seen in other words? This is important because I'm a Montessorian, and we work with teaching reading through the rhyming word families. So like cat, hat, fat, sat. All right. So we get them used to that pattern, and cat then becomes a syllable like catastrophe. So they may not know how to say catastrophe, but they can sound it out and work it through. All right. Finding just the right book. Use the 5-finger rule. At the library, we see a lot of parents just come with stacks of books, which is fantastic. But are they the right books? So one, choose a book that you are always going to enjoy, because if you don't enjoy it, you're not going to read it. Read the second page. Hold up a finger for each word you are not sure that the child will able to read. If there are 5 or more of those words that a child does not know, you should choose another book. And the library is very good about it. They have the level books, they have beginning books, they have picture books. So you can ask the librarian for your help in finding these books that will help you with using the 5-finger rule. Okay, and here's a fun way of reading bingo to help your kids learn the sight words. And sight words are high fluency words, or words that you can't sound out, or just need to know. And so this is a fun way, and you can get these off of the internet, and various places. Pinterest, Teachers Pay Teachers. You may have to pay for that one, but there's multiple, and I'm sure the librarian has some of these games, especially for the summer reading program. And MSU Extension has worked primarily with PBS Kids, the Michigan Learning Channel, to offer you free 24 hours children's activities that are appropriate for them to watch and are able to see all throughout the day. So check it out. Writing. All right. Working is part of the writing because you have to write that book report in 4th grade, 5th grade, and then in masters, you got to write that Keystone project. So writing. All right. Is the ability to write proficiently and fluently is critical component of a child's literacy development. These skills are necessary components of developing proficient readers. The writing standard addressing working knowledge of the concept of print, alphabetic principle, and the basic conventions of the English writing system, such as starting at the top left corner and going to the right. So left to right is our cultural way we read and write. So writing is printing, alphabetical principle, basic conventions of the English writing system. So again, writing activity examples: pencil, paper, picture on an index card, word list. Imagine a personality for a fictional person and write a brief 2 to 4 sentence story about him using at least 5 words on the list. This is great when you are working with sight words or spelling words or vocabularies. Write a story. Have the kids get to use them in their vocabulary, in their language. Then they'll learn it. But this is a great example of put something in the busy bag. You carried a diaper bag around. Go ahead, stick in something, a child's backpack, a pen, a paper, crayons, something. So when they're at the restaurant, rather than play with their phone or your phone, draw a picture of the waitress. Help him. Make sure, oh, you got the 2 eyes, her hair, her nose. Those are wonderful writing examples. Another one is, and this would probably be better with your older kids that know more language, is to make a list of 10 things that start with the letter H, or make a list of 10 things that start with the letter L. Okay, and then see, here is an example. H is house, heron, hot dog, horse. Hands, heart, hen, Huffalump, and Halloween. All right, so fun games like this. You can do this in the car. You can do this at a restaurant. Getting a little Dr. Seussy there. Okay. Additional activities to encourage writing: Mad Libs, Scramble Journal. That is Scramble, but with bigger tiles and easier words. And then writing in rice trays. Those are really fun because it's textually encourages the child to become more engaged. You want to encourage brain development. My colleague Patty does this, makes these gel bags, and she makes them for various aged children, but she makes one specifically for kids to practice their sight words or just their letters. Just put a bottle of hair gel, colored if you can. If not, put a little color in it, food dye. Then she tapes the corners of a Ziploc bag, and then the kid just is able to use his finger and just using his senses of pushing down on the gel and making that letter S for Sam or for Sonny, whatever he is doing. Speaking and listening. All right. Participate in a collaborative conversation at the dinner table. That's where I grew up talking to my family. That's where we would share our day with each other. We would ask questions. We would listen to our father telling us what chores we're going to do on Saturday. We just participated in a collaborative conversation. Put the phones down at the dinner and have a conversation with your child. That's important because they're not only able to speak, but then they can hear and answer the question and participate in a conversation where they're sharing their ideas, they're hearing someone else's ideas, and they're problem solving of getting out of doing the chores dad wants. So ask questions, clear up any confusion, because this is the age where if they're told, oh, the sky is green, they're going to believe it's green until they're told otherwise. Follow agreed upon rules. That means you let one person talk at the time, and then you can speak. So that's the beginning of active listening. Add drawings or other visual display to describe where appropriate, to clarify ideas, thoughts, and feelings. So a good way to do this is Story Cube, and you'll get a copy of this too, because you're thinking, I have a 3-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old. How am I going to do this Story Cube? This is the best time to do it, because it is the 5 principles: who, what, where, when, and how on this, and you're rolling it, and you can just have the kids tell the story. Okay, who's the character? Oh, she was wearing a red hood, and she was off to go see her grandmother. So they can retell you the story. And this is just a fun way to do it. Make it a game. If a child learns more through play and having fun, the more it sticks. Children learn best through play and interaction with their parents. Again, do a scavenger hunt. Wonderful thing that you can do. Everybody gets, for maybe their a birthday or a stocking stuffer, flashcards. So if you pull out a flashcard or a Uno card and it's a yellow 4, well, go around the house and find me 4 yellow things. With the older kids, go around the house and find me 4 yellow things. Can you draw them, or can you write out their name? Again, things like this. When they do the scavenger hunt of elliptical, of course, and dandelion-like, go right ahead. They can know those words. But right now we're having fun. It's a rainy day. They're on your nerves. You are on their nerves. Bring out the flashcards. Play a game. Have them get up and move. If it's 10, how many of you can jump 10 times? Again, here are some stories about encouraging speaking and listening. So, green light, what time is it, Mr. Wolf, is a great game. Another way to play game, and especially if you work out of home, play the quiet game. So you're going to hide your device, like your phone or a music box, something that's low volume. You're going to turn it on, and then the kids have to find it. They have to listen. They have to be quiet, and they have to play and find it. And at the first couple times, it's easy. And then as they gain experience, their skill develops. You can have it really be hide it harder. The kids can hide it. This would be a great game to play if you or daddy or grandma has a business call that they have to have quiet to talk to. This is a fun game. All right. As parents, teacher, grandparents, aunts, uncles, librarians, child care providers, we all have a role to play in supporting a child's literacy development. By working collaboratively, we can support the excellent work happening in the classrooms and expand on our children's interest skills to help them to become readers, proficient readers by the end of third grade. So that's why they do the summer program readers. They don't want that gap. They want the librarian, the teachers, the parents, community partners like Patty and I. We want to see your kids enroll in the reading program. I know that there's a reading program for adults, basically the same thing. You read a book, you log it in. Share that. Do a half an hour of everybody finding a book. I remember when I first started to teach way back, it was drop everything and read. It was deer time. So those are important. The most important thing to help your child be a reader is having them see you read. I remember my father, after work, he would sit down in his chair with his book and a dictionary that if he didn't know the word, he looked it up. But he always was reading, always was reading. There are many little ways to enlarge your child's world. Love of Books is the Best of All by Jacqueline Kennedy. It's up to us to show the children of today that yes, screens are important. We're going to have screens all the rest of our lives. But reading really opens up the windows to our world and have us experience events that we would never experience. Being lost in Paris, having a big giant peach all of a sudden in your backyard. That's some problems. Let's read how James figured that out. So, by supporting summer reading programs, you're supporting literacy in the classroom. So, when it's birthday, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever, buy a variety of books. Implement a reading routine. It doesn't have to be much. Patty and I do a great program called Routines, and we talk about bedtime routines. And to have your child sleep better during the day, better at the night, after dinner, don't put the screen on. That's time to start settling our minds down, getting the melatonin, which is the sleep hormone, created. So let's not put the screen on. Let's put on some music and dance to different types of music. Let's sit down. That's a great time to have books be read to or your reading time. Ask questions about their reading. Their reading is opening their minds, their world, their experience. Have them share that with you. Again, by asking questions, you're supporting their language vocabulary, their comprehension of understanding what the words mean. Alternative words for common words to explain and expand vocabulary knowledge. The word big. There is a great child's book out there that breaks down some of these alternative common words. Big, large, huge. Try to find those. That's, again, bringing in alternative words to expand the vocabulary. It all means big, but huge is really huge. And again, always model reading. So this talks about organizing a library. Try to subject area by grouping. If you so much want to put all your plant books together, Books always should be in an accessible manner. And then Book Wizard tool is a wonderful idea from Scholastics that help you order books for classrooms. Okay, I can't move. Okay, there we go. So we're finishing up here. There is more treasure in books than in all the pirates' loot on Treasure Island, Walt Disney. So as we go through the objectives, as we end up, I hope you have increased your understanding of the importance of children reading at the grade level of 3rd grade. We talked briefly about the Common Core. We hope that you have gained more skills, comfortable with creating and providing a literacy-rich environment. Participants, there are a variety of resources that support literacy development. The biggest one is the libraries. I just lost my sharing, but that's okay because we're done. So, any questions?
If you have any questions, feel free to put them either in the YouTube comments or in the Facebook chat. We can see them. We can kind of answer them. Yeah, I thought it was really interesting hearing that 4th grade is really the divider between gaining the tools to be able to read and then having to use reading to learn other topics, other subjects.
Yeah, and you stop and you think about it and like, oh my God, yeah, because that was the first, time you get to take your real big textbooks home. You have to really use your back, at least when I was coming up. Awesome. I don't see any questions.
I don't see any either, so I guess we'll wrap it up. Thank you,
Okay.
Aunt Patricia, for joining us today.
All
And
right.
if you're interested in the documents they're going to send, just leave a comment or message the Facebook page, and I'll get them to you.
Great.
All right. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you, and we hope to see you come out to the rodeo. It's at the county's fairgrounds in Mount Morris. So come on down. We're there for the weekend.
All right. Sounds good. Sounds like fun.
All right. All right, Kevin. Thank you so much, and we hope we can do this again.
All right. Sounds good. Have a good night, everyone.
You too.